Welcome to the Business Grind, where we give you an inside perspective on what it takes to start, build, and run a successful business. Here are your hosts, Danny Shaw and Sean Michael Wellington.
All right. Hello to everyone in podcast land. Thanks for joining us today. Sean, how you feeling?
Feeling good and excited to have another good guest this week.
All right. So yes, today we have Abdullah Abdullah, the CEO and founder of Afro Future. Abdullah, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. Yourself?
Oh yes, we're doing good. It's I don't know what state you're in right now, but the weather's getting nice in New York, so I always appreciate that.
Yeah, New York is beautiful this time of the year.
Indeed. All right. So yes. So for our audience, I did give the title, CEO and founder of Afro Future, but want to give the stage to you to kind of explain a little bit more and give a little bit more context to our audience. What is Afro Future, what it's about, and so forth, and how you got started.
Yeah, Afro Future is a cultural festival built to unite the Black diaspora in Accra, Ghana. Outside of that, we're much more than just a festival or a platform to use as one to tell stories about local Africans, starting off in Ghana but expanding to Francophone, Southern Africa, telling our stories firsthand, working with local partners on the ground to be able to tell these stories through art, through music, through fashion, and of course through food as well. And that's some of the work that we've done.
Got it. So, tell us, how did you get started? What led to you starting this and starting this, business?
Well, we was going to, I'm from Ghana. My parents are from Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
And, I always just felt as a kid growing up in America, nobody understood I was Ghanaian until I told them that I was just a Black kid in America. And because of that, I have lived between both of my cultures, being American and also Ghanaian at the same time. And I wanted to be able to introduce that to my friends. I felt like there was an education that was necessary of people, one, wanting or having or building a desire for them to go back to the continent, show them what exactly is on the continent, different than what they grew up thinking it was, and demystifying some of the myths that were told about the continent or Ghana specifically. I mean, those are things that motivated me. And we also wanted to create a space where we could develop cooperation and collaboration between the global diaspora. So it was just kind of like something that needed to happen.
So I find a lot of businesses start off of either necessity or like a demand, like people are you're solving a problem for people, or it's something you're passionate about. So where do you fall into that spectrum? Was this because you were passionate about sharing with the diaspora, kind of what it's like back home for you? Or was there kind of outreach of people saying, hey, I'd like to go to Accra, I'd like to go to Ghana, I want to go back to the motherland?
No, I mean, it was passion, of course. The only thing that drives being able to develop and build something like this is passion, in the way that we do it, at least. For us, it's passion at its core. It is what keeps it going and keeps it running. It's the building connection, building community. Those are the things that are very, very important.
Prior to this, right? Like, what were you doing prior to starting this?
I was a promoter right here in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
And we would promote Afrobeats inspired concerts, music shows, food events and brunches. Those are the kind of things that I would do. And I realized as we continued to build that out, that it was something that wasn't just for the African community. It was spreading out to other communities that were now becoming interested in enjoying the music, enjoying the culture, the food, even the fashion. So we knew that there was an opportunity to get them to come with us back home.
Nice.
And now, did you have your feet in all of those kind of worlds? Like you said, you were a promoter, you talk about the fashion, and like obviously you got to have artists to do an Afrobeat performance in the Afrobeat show. So were you already kind of in those worlds already, or is that something you jumped into more as this idea came to you?
Well, as a promoter, yes, but there were more things I was passionate about than more things that I was involved in. So as far as music and food, yes, I was in those industries before. Now, fashion and art are things that I decided to get into after a while and building the festival.
Nice. So, what, I would imagine, being a promoter in New York, obviously you have experience in organizing and events and stuff like that. But I would imagine a festival is quite a different, undertaking. What were some of the things, you kind of had to get caught up to speed on, and getting this put together?
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of learning on the job for us. We just needed to fully understand what our festival was going to actually look like. And that took some time, right? We had to mature as curators and producers. We had to mature in our thought process. And I think some of the, things we went through informed us on the things that we needed. And every year we've just kind of been able to raise our quality of expertise on the team. And that gives us the growth that we need to in the right direction. One of the things that's important to us is keeping that family feel, keeping that familiarity, energy, no matter how big the festival gets.
All right.
That seems like a hard thing to balance, the growth and keeping that family feel. How many, if you can say like around how many people work on Afro Future right now?
Well, full staff across the board at any given time during the festival is about 1,500 people. But as far as people who day to day, anywhere between 20 to 40 people are working at any given time to bring the festival together.
Wow. And those are all like W-2 employees, or some of that's like a mix of like 1099 and freelancers that help out? Like how's that work?
That's a mix. As far as the 1,500, that's a very large mix of contractors, third-party vendors. But for the most part, it's about 20 W-2s, and then the rest of them are 1099s or freelancers.
When you first started, like when you first got the idea and said, "Hey, I'm gonna make this happen," right? Like how far in advance were you working on this before the first actual event? And I'm asking because Sean and myself, we have experience in festivals, and just in the roles that we've had, it's been quite a huge undertaking. So kind of just trying to get insight into your perspective and how long it took since you were leading the whole charge.
It took about 3 or 4 years. The festival as it is now, the concept took about 3 years to develop into what will become Afro at the time. And it took another 5 years, 6 years, another 4 to 5 years for it to become Afro Future. So even before we announced, we knew that it was going to be that. It was just kind of like, progressing towards something else and growing into something bigger.
Right.
So initially I wanted this, it was something that was supposed to even be in the US to educate people. And then, both financing and also just kind of understanding what we wanted to do further pushed us to do it on the continent. And as far as on the continent, the response has given us even more responsibility to really develop some of the concepts that we have within the festival to, change narratives, but to also bring more people together. And we recognize that the future of the world is Africa, right? If you think about it, 1 in 4 people by 2050 will be African, youngest continent on the planet, and it will be for the foreseeable future. So it just makes sense for us to engage more people that look like us around the world to be interested in what is happening on the continent and opportunities that exist on the continent, because that future shouldn't pass by Black people.
That's real crazy to me that, you initially wanted to start it in America and then decided, no, I'm going to do the first one in Accra. Like, I just don't want to roll over that, because that's kind of like, that's really ambitious from my perspective. Like, what made you come up with that decision to decide that, like, nah, it's not America, we're going to start it there, we're going to, like, jump, like, 2 feet in?
I mean, just like I'm familiar with New York, I'm familiar with Ghana, Accra specifically, right? when I get to Ghana, I drive myself in a car. Sometimes they leave my car at the airport. I get off the plane, I put my bags in the trunk, and I'm driving. It's home to me, So it just, when we realized that the whole goal should be to get people to want to come to Africa, it was a time when Black people are starting to travel in travel groups, are starting to go places. And my partner, my team wanted more people to choose Africa as a destination.
Mm-hmm. Could you speak to, the the difference in the challenges, in trying to do business internationally, right? From just the logistics and legal perspective as well.
I mean, there's a lot of things that you have to consider. A lot of red tape.
Mm-hmm. Did you?
A lot of red tape around a lot of things, whether it's money transfer, whether it's taxes, whether it's just marketing, social media. Even sometimes depending on what market you're in, what music you can use to promote your stuff, how you can access certain apps and payment processors. All of those things are political.
Right.
Flight costs, all of those things are political, So definitely a lot of challenges to overcome.
So did you have some sort of like business liaison over there that helped you out with some of those things, or you kind of just on your own because you're familiar?
Majority of my team are in Africa. I'm one of a few that are on that in America or are between the continent and America.
Wow.
Yeah, no stuff. All right. So so far, obviously you've been doing this for a while now, a few years, and going through it and learning every year. What would you say has probably been the hardest part of the business so far?
The hardest part of the business is just remaining steadfast and continuing to believe and to continue to grow beyond where you're at. Because obviously doing business in Africa is not easy. Partners, getting people to support, getting people to understand just because it's Africa doesn't mean it's cheaper. Getting them to understand all of those things require a lot of energy and a lot of travel. Overall, we're very grateful for the impact we've had on people. We're very grateful for the impact we've had on the travel business to Africa, and also how much we've inspired people on the continent and around the continent to do similar things.
Right. Speaking of travel, obviously, if you're U.S. based and the event is in Ghana, how much? What's the percentage breakdown? How much time you spend over there as opposed to the States nowadays?
It's getting close to 50-50 now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's right around 40-60.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So definitely.
So your frequent flyer miles is looking nice nowadays.
Yeah, it's been kind of insane.
Okay. Got it.
It's been kind of insane, actually.
Yeah. I would imagine, especially leading this type of venture and being the head of this organization, what would you say is probably a myth or about entrepreneurship, or even the type of business that you're in that you would be quick to say no, that's not really the way you think it is?
I don't know how to attack this one.
Okay. All right. Well, that's fine. I know usually when you're doing like music or entertainment, it's kind of like the thought of, oh, it's also glamorous. You get to hang with celebs.
I guess people love the fact, say, oh, you're living a life because you travel. And stuff like that. It's sexy to them, and it probably used to be sexy to me, but it's taxing on the body.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Travel. Yeah, it's taxing.
I'm and you could say this is none of your business, and I won't be offended. But I'm just curious from a business perspective. What's your main source of revenue that keeps the lights on? Is it the ticket sales from the event? Is it the sponsorship opportunities? Is it something else that I may not even be aware of? Yeah.
Combination of both, and the bars obviously are great opportunities as well.
The bars you said? Oh, like
Yeah,
the
the
local
bar.
bars?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't even thought of that. Yeah, okay.
I guess one of the secret cash flows, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like where the money is. You
Indeed.
know?
You did mention how the travel and the work and all of that, it does get taxing on the body, right? And we're definitely about maintaining balance with your health and as you work on the business. Are you doing, what do you do to kind of maintain or keep your health up to par while you're running this business?
I try to bike. Like today, I went biking.
Mm-hmm.
Biking is a thing for me. That's one way I'm able to do it. Definitely go to the spa a lot, travel. Sometimes I like to get comfortable rooms so I could just reflect in my own time.
Mm-hmm.
Those are things that I try to do. Listen to music a lot.
Right. Definitely. And this might be, this is going along the lines of the personal side a bit more, right? Like, I don't know if you have a family. Well, I mean, like kids and a spouse, or
Nah, never.
okay, yeah, because definitely is going to ask how does that impact that balance as well, right? Especially with the traveling and the home life, right?
Yeah, nah, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Like that's not an issue right
No,
now.
that's good for now, for sure.
Yeah. I'm curious about like from your perspective as the owner, as the CEO, who are your competitors right now? Do you look at the Made in Americas, the Coachellas, the Broccoli Fest? Do you look at those as your competitors?
No, I don't look at those as competitors at all. I actually don't see competitors. The reason, and I'm saying that very humbly because I think what we're building is very unique to us, where it's not just about the music. You don't come to the festival just to see who's on the lineup. You come for the immersive experience. And one of the things that we see about our audience is once they come to Ghana, they tend to come back again, and not just 1 year, but multiple years. They want to know how to live there. So our festivals, I don't see competition as far as the type of experience we're able to bring. I think we're very unique in that effort.
And
But
along those same lines,
you get all of the elements of the other experiences at our experience.
yeah, I mean it's definitely unique. I've only attended one, the 2019/2020, but I mean, yeah, it's not like anything else. But along those same lines, when you were building, because I know you talked about how it took you a couple years to actually decide, what the event looks like, right? What's the programming? What is it, right? So did you look towards any other festivals or maybe any other experiences that kind of gave you inspiration or like things that you took and made your own?
Yeah, I definitely have been inspired by a bunch of festivals. Some in Ghana, Coachella was a very good, inspiring one. Made in America, Broccoli Fest, all inspiring festivals for sure.
Mm-hmm. I just wanted to kind of ask about locations and so forth. We know it's been in Ghana and but are there plans to expand it into other African nations and African countries or moving forward or
Yeah,
even
we have. We've worked in Cote d'Ivoire. We worked in Cote d'Ivoire. We worked in South Africa. We're looking to go back to those. We went back to Cote d'Ivoire earlier this year.
Mhm.
We went at possibly Kenya in addition this year.
You know what? I just thought about competitor for you, or not competitor. I'm not trying to find competitors.
Stop
for you,
trying to
but-
find competitors, Sean. Stop trying to find
But it reminds me of Carnival, doesn't it, Danny? Like the whole, crop over or whatever. It's that kind of
Yeah,
vibe,
Carnival
right?
is definitely a
Yeah.
very good example of what we're trying to recreate. Exactly.
Yeah, that was good. That was good, Sean. Stop trying to find competition, but that was a good.
Yeah.
Definitely a comparable experience. It sounds like to that. Yeah. I would like to, while we're on the subject, just talk about, we've talked about the journey and what you've been doing and even what you were doing before you started this, which was the promotions and being in that industry. And of course, you're always going to keep learning, right? Like every year brings new challenges and new things to figure out. But was there anything, especially early on when you first started, where you were like, wow, I wish I would have known this before I started, or I wished I would have known, about this aspect of the business?
Oh man, there's so many things. I wish I would have just known how to find certain partners, a lot more effectively. I wish I probably would have raised more money before I started. There's so many things that you can wish. I think that our starting when we started is exactly where we needed to be. You just got to be where our feet is at.
All right.
And speaking, sorry, go
ahead, Sean. I got it. I'll table it. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, speaking of money, like how in the beginning, at least, before you made back your investments and got a return on like these events from the big turnouts, like what percentage of your I guess initial money was like borrowed versus like loans and things like that, credit versus
Nobody was trying to give us any money. This is all our savings.
Really?
Yeah, this is all our savings.
Wow, so there was no like outside credit or even loans at all. That's amazing. How do you pay artists? I mean, that must have been a big expense, right?
The first year we didn't have any real artists. Well, we had real artists, but they weren't so expensive where we couldn't afford them that first year.
Right.
Yeah, so we had real artists. It's just, we didn't have the expenditure. Like it was within our budget.
Right. Yeah. Could you just speak to some of the reasons or why you were denied funding or loans for the venture early on?
We didn't even know how to go about getting loans, so we didn't do it. Yeah.
I see. Okay, cool.
Because it seems like proof of concept shouldn't be hard. It's like there's examples of comparable things.
I think a lot of people think it's like that, but it's not really like that.
Got it.
You can have a concept that's well proven, but sometimes it's still difficult for you to get the funding. Right? It's all about. There's a lot of intangibles there.
Right. You did mention, when we talk about some of the things you would have probably rethought or done a bit different. You spoke about partners and picking certain partners. And we talk about that a lot on our show. We always say sometimes it's, the right partner can make everything or break everything, right? How do you go about nowadays? Like, or what's your process with partnering with people, if that's even still an option on the table nowadays?
I mean, I think partnership is the foundation. You have to partner with people to grow beyond where you at, right? In order to be able to grow, you have to do the partnerships. As far as partnering with people, I just like to partner with like-minded people, people with integrity, people that are trying to partner for more than just money. Those things are very important to me.
Got it.
A couple episodes back, we did a book review on a book called Built to Sell. And I always think about every business now from that lens. So from your perspective, like, is there like is there ever a case or a scenario or a world where like you sold the brand to another person or another entity? Is there like a magic number that would make you entertain something like that, or maybe the right partner that it would be in good hands, or is that not even on your radar yet?
Right now, no. I mean, right now that's not where my mind is at all.
So that's so he's like, nope, can't be sold yet. But I'm assuming, and obviously we can assume, but I'm assuming some of like the Live Nations and so forth have been knocking on your door.
Hey man, if it happens, it happens, man.
Indeed. All right. So
they
Sean,
gotta come with the correct number, right?
Yeah, for sure. So Sean, I know we're getting close to time. So I just wanted to check to see if you had any closing questions you wanted to ask.
Nah, Abdullah, I think you've been answering our questions really well. Thank you. I don't really have anything specific, but I did just want to Is there a side of the business in general that we're not seeing, something that like takes up 9 hours out of your day that like we're not even thinking of, that would be part of a festival? You know what I mean? Like there's probably so many moving pieces that we're not even aware of. So like, what's something that we might not even know is a huge part of your day?
Honestly, I don't know how to answer that question either. I would say a huge part of my day.
Yeah, like which email address, when you see that come in your inbox, you just roll your eyes immediately. Like what's that, you know, the thing that like, you know, there's always that one email you're like, damn, I don't want to answer this right now.
Oh, it's a bunch of those. It's a bunch of those emails. Probably my accountant. Probably my accountant. You know, she's awesome though. She's really great.
What kind of how did you form the business? Did you form an LLC initially? Did you do an S corp? Like what was kind of your mode for forming the business when you knew you were ready to start it?
Yeah, we did an LLC.
Okay, and what was the reason you chose that?
Because it was the easiest one up front. To be fair, I mean, our whole thing was we're just gonna do it. You know, we wanted to do something, and we wanted to. We knew that we wasn't gonna start till we started. So our approach was, we're doing this. Yeah.
Okay. That, I mean, ain't gonna do you. If you don't do it, you'll never know, right? So it sounds like, kind of definitely took that approach. Like, we're going to do it. We'll figure it out along the way and keep making those changes and adjustments as we need to, year over year, right?
Yeah.
That's dope.
Absolutely.
That's dope. That's dope stuff right there. All right. Sean, I feel like I know this is one of our shorter calls, but I feel like this is probably the most succinct call we've had.
Right. Yeah, duels don't play. He don't waste no breath. He's like, no, these are the answers. And then this is what I did.
No, for sure. He made every minute count. Every so we definitely appreciate. No knock on our other guests, but it was like, you know, you've been here. You've been doing this for a while. I see. So yeah.
Our last episode, we split up into 2 parts. No shade to our other guests.
Oh no, she was cool.
She was good. Yeah, it was good. Sometimes you need both, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely, for sure. You need that balance.
Yes, sir. So yeah. Do you any closing words? Anything we should be on the lookout for? Stay tuned for Afro Future and so forth, or any new ventures?
we coming soon. Follow our website. Sign up for our our newsletter, because a lot of information is coming at us soon. We have charter jets this year going from New York to Accra, reducing that airline cost. So definitely stay tuned and tap the work that we're doing this year.
Nice. All right.
Wow, we coming for the airline revenue too.
Yeah, heard it here first. Yeah, or maybe not first, but y'all heard it here. All right. Cool. All right. So thank you for your time. We look forward to seeing all the good stuff that you have coming for Afro Future.
Thank you so much, man.
All right, no problem. You have a good one. All right, so that's a wrap on this week's episode. We hope you enjoyed our engaging discussions and interviews with our guests. Hopefully it provided you with some value as you navigate through your business journey and personal life. As always, if you have a question you would like us to answer on the show, shoot us a message on any of our social media channels. Also, don't forget to subscribe and share on Spotify and iTunes. See you again soon. In the meantime, keep grinding.
The Business Grind is for entertainment purposes. Opinions expressed are those solely of the host and guests. Please consult with a professional and exercise discretion before engaging in any business endeavors.
I'm out here on the grind. I'm out here on the grind.